All right, so we've seen this little, well, actually, you might not have seen this before, but I thought I'd make a quick video on what to do if you get this runtime disconnected message right down at the end of the notebook. So we've just saved and loaded a model, so a pre-saved model and a loaded model. But now, since our runtime is disconnected in Google Colab, we're going to have to reconnect and then rerun some of the variables we've run up the top to get access to them. So let me just show you what to do. So if I reconnect, we're going to have to wait for this to load up. Shouldn't take too long. And as you can see next, we're pretty far on in the project because next step for us is training a model on the full data. But if we try to access the full data, as you'll see in a second, initializing, mounting Google Drive, getting our data back, we're connected again. So before we saved our images in X, or if you're watching this before we get to this actual part, just know that our data is in X and our labels are in Y. But right now they're not defined. So because our runtime disconnected, it means we're going to have to go right back up to the top of the notebook. This is a beautiful thing about Google Colab, is you can go right up the top. And we're going to have to rerun these. So we're going to have to re-import TensorFlow 2. We're going to have to re-import TensorFlow and TensorFlow Hub. There we go. We're going to have to get back our labels CSV. So just all of the variables that we've had later on in the notebook, we're going to have to rerun them. We don't have to look at this image. We've already done that. Again, if you're watching this in an earlier video, you'll see what happens as we get through the notebook. We do need file names. We do need to check this, make sure it's okay. We don't need to view one more image. So this is the kind of workflow you might have to do if you're working through your notebook and you take a break like I just have, and its real runtime is disconnected. Length labels. So we're just re-instantiating all the variables we're going to need later on. And as you get a bit more practice working with these kind of workflows, you might functionize what we're doing right now so that you can just run one cell and it sets up all of these, which is what we've tried to do later on. And you'll see pretty shortly that for things like loading our model, we can just run our load model function. Here's where we want, because we want to train a model on the full data. We need our X and Y variables, aka X is just file names to the training data and Y are labels. Remember, if you're watching this early on, don't worry, we're going to go through this. But I'm just showing you the kind of things you'll have to do if your runtime disconnects itself, which it will after an extended period of time away from Google Colab. Beautiful. There's a lot of stuff that we don't have to run. Mostly the functions is what we're after. So let's just keep going through this. I'm just rerunning all of these cells. We'll need to create training in. We don't need to look at data batches. So let's comment out this cell. We need to run this. Beautiful. We could go run all by just going runtime run all, but I just want to show you step by step what's happening. You'll get something like this. This usually fixes itself. If not, just click more info and have a read of what's actually going on. Early stopping callback, we do need that. Print GPU available, make sure it's available. We need the train model function. We actually don't need to train another model. So what we'll do is we'll comment out that. We don't need to look at TensorBoard just yet. And we don't need to make these predictions. We do need getPred label. We do need unbatchify. We do need plotpred. Do need plotpredconf. Don't need to rerun that. And we do need save model, load model. And now, as long as load model runs, we should be able to load a previously trained model. This one loaded 1000 image model should run. So if we go load in a model, now remember, this is just the kind of workflow you'll have to do if your runtime disconnects, which it will if you take a break. And you should be taking breaks. It's important. We just might speed the video up, make sure that everything's running, and we'll come back once this cell is loaded and run. Wonderful. So now we've loaded a model from our saved models directory. We come up in here, models. This video is from the future, remember? So we got dog vision, and then inside dog vision, every time you reconnect to a new runtime, it's going to take a while to load drive as things get stored in Google's machine. So we're loading it from models. And now we should be able to evaluate. And we should have X and Y, which is our full data set. Beautiful. Same results as the original model. And now X and Y are reinstantiated. So that's just a workflow you might have to take if your runtime disconnects and you're pretty far on in the notebook. Make sure you've got all the variables that you need loaded. I'm going to now train a model on the full data. But remember, if you're not up to this part just yet, don't worry too much. We're going to cover it in subsequent videos. I just thought I'd put this one in to show you what it looks like if you're pretty far on in the project and you have to restart your runtime. So I'll see you in the future videos.